What's going on, everybody? I am Sniper Mike, and today we're going to go over one of my 5 most consistently profitable patterns, the panic dip buy. And I like to call this panic dip buy the unicorn of the 5 patterns, the one that you rarely see, but the one that you could make the most money in the least amount of time. Now, earlier, I've already reviewed my first Green Day pattern on YouTube and my multi-month pattern on YouTube. So if you haven't checked those out, make sure to click subscribe and go check out those old videos to see how I consistently profit on those patterns. But today, we're here to review the unicorn, and that unicorn is the panic dip buy. So let's dive in. So I've been trading for over 10 years now, and you can check every single one of my trades on profit.ly under Stock Snipers. And through the first 3 years of trading, I had to find out what consistently made me money. After all the trials and tribulations, and after testing out tons of different patterns, there was only 5 that really consistently worked with me, and the panic dip buy is one of them. So the criteria for that is we need a huge percentage drop in a short amount of time. And what I mean by a huge percentage drop, I'm not talking 1 to 2% drop in a minute. I mean big drops, like 20%, even 50% drops in a couple minutes. This comes usually after a big run. So let me go over a couple examples to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And the first example I'm going to show here is a stock that we played in October, ELTP. Now this is a penny stock, and not only penny stocks panic, I'll show you some other examples as well. But to start off, ELTP was a huge runner with multiple green days as it started to approach resistance at 75 cents right here, and ended up panicking all the way back down to the 40s, where we were identifying a key long-term support spot. And in that long-term support spot, we were able to grab right around the 40s, right above that, and sell into the 50s. Even though it went to the 60s, you're never really going to guess the exact bottom and top of these. But the fact that we were able to make a quick 25% in 20 minutes, and ELTP is a perfect example of this play. One thing I do want to highlight on all of these plays is what you'll notice is multiple green days and then a huge drop day in one single day. So these are the minute patterns that I'm looking at. All right, so I'm going to jump into some live action trading of HGRAF. And this is a panic dip buy that shows you that you can buy stocks from anywhere. The only thing that you need is preparation, which meaning a watch list, some alerts, so you're prepared from when that moment happens. And then you need Wi-Fi and the Thinkorswim platform or any other trading platform to be able to do this. You don't need your laptop. I actually did this all over my phone. So let's dive in and let's show you exactly how I did this through my phone. So I decided to go to the gym midday. I actually went to the gym midday because I had a slightly red day, and I love to go in the sauna and the steam room midday. So as I approached the sauna and the steam room, I started to get some alerts. And those alerts started to pop up very nicely. HGREF is starting to hit 125, 118, 116. It's very key to highlight key resistance and support levels. So when I talk about this stock, let me actually jump right into the stock. It was able to fall from $2.70 at the breakout levels all the way back down to $1. Now $1 was key to me because if you do zoom out and you look at the pattern, you'll be able to see that there is key support levels at $1.90. So those are things that I have to identify when it comes to long-term support spots. We have the multiple green days, we have the big possible fall, and I didn't go after it this day. I waited for it to come down to key support levels. So for a panic dip buy, a lot of people would say, how would you know exactly where to find that spot? And there's no exact science to it, but there are past history that you can usually base your levels off of. And you have to be watching level 2s as well, which we're going to show you in a second. But from $2.70 all the way to $1, that was clear for me to go after it. And I'm sitting in that sauna and steam room getting these alerts. And at this point, when I finally get that alert at $1.14, I decided I had to get out of that steam room. So you can see here, 1253, 101, 102, 114. So we're constantly getting those alerts. And then I start to now eye down the stock. And you'll be able to see the stock live trading here. Starting right here at 115. So as I was leaving, getting out at 115, I'm out of the steam room, that is, and trying to decide where should I attack this stock. Now, in my opinion, I did want it to drop all the way to 1, but we've already fallen from 270 to 115 in the span of about 8 hours. So in my opinion, I already thought that was almost enough. But patience does pay when it comes to these stocks. And watching level 2s and time of sales is very key. So as you continue to fast forward through this stream, you'll see about 5 minutes later, it starts to run into this big seller right here at 1, or this big buyer at 110. And that big buyer is the first place where I say, should I start to enter in? And I decide not to yet because I notice that buyer is falling down and going lower and lower. How do I notice that? Because I'm watching the ask, and the ask is bigger than the bid now. So usually you want to see the bid bigger than the ask, and usually you want to see that right around key levels. So notice as the stock continues to fall, I'm in the sauna, I'm getting alerts, I'm still eyeing this, scoping this, ready for it to roll, and it starts to fall some more. It falls all the way back down to that key level of $1. And when we get to that level, that's when I actually start to decide, do I enter? So here we go, we get that drop, and this is when I get my first entry. So I got my first entry actually at 105, and then it starts to come down a little more, and as we test that dollar, this is me getting some more entry. So even though, a lot of people would call this the panic dip buy, you have to be fully composed and ready to roll, and keep sticking to the plan no matter what. So I look to buy some more. I actually put a limit at 95, thinking it might drop $1, but once I realize it doesn't drop $1, I actually decide to move my bid up. So here's that 101 hold. But the one thing I do love to point out here is huge buyers are on the bid and ask. Even on your phone, you can watch level 2s. So I'm watching the level 2s on my phone. Perfect situation here for a panic dip buy. And if we hold that $1, I got to take advantage of that turnaround. Right here, I decide to start moving my limits up. I like the situation. I like what I got here. I like the dollar hold. You just want to be in with minimal risk, and usually things happen fast on these panic dip buys. So watch how fast we get a bounce here. As I'm trying to enjoy myself, and I can't even enjoy a red day, I found myself another winner to become green, and now we're starting to bounce. We're at 107, 109. At this point, I want more, because usually you want to add to winners. One of my favorite traders, Jack Kellogg, told me, you got to add to winners. If you think you're right, that's always a great idea. A lot of traders think you add to losers. That's a big mistake. So as I'm adding to winners, and as this continues to creep up, we are now up 10%, about 10% in the span of minutes. And that's usually what we like to see. As we get a double bottom at 105, it does nothing but hold. And then I make the worst mistake ever and try to take a selfie of myself at the gym just to show that I'm at the gym. And this was the dumbest mistake. Like, who does that? Pretty laughable, honestly, in my opinion, because when I go back to the screen, we can't load. And the Wi-Fi doesn't load for about 5 minutes. So I made a huge mistake of doing that. This is me actually struggling to get it back up forever. I'm still getting alerts from other things, but for some reason my thinkorswim's not popping up. It's too powerful. It's too powerful to pull up. Pretty unfortunate situation here. I was freaking out, panicking. As finally I get it back up, look at LA Fitness Wi-Fi I'm trying to click on. I'm trying to switch. I'm doing everything I could here. But this just shows you trade from anywhere. You can literally do this from anywhere, but you got to have the plan, and you always have to stick to that plan. So luckily, 3 minutes later, I get my screen back, and we're up. We're up nicely. We're actually at 117 now, so we're up 12%. 13%. At this point, I'm starting to think about taking the bag if we get rejected at 120. And 120 was a resistance spot not too long ago. If you want to stay patient, that's the beauty about trading. You are your own boss. But as this reaches 119, I actually decide to take it. So just close to 15% on the day, tag in the bag, and honestly, it actually shot up 40% plus towards that end. So by the end of, it all, it actually shot up 40%. And look, now I'm actually able to record myself walking back into the steam room. I calmed myself down. That was a wild situation, but just shows you that you can trade from anywhere. I definitely probably could have capitalized a little more being in my screen, but use the small account to try to grow, and that's a perfect way to grow your small account. 15% in 10 minutes, continuing to add that up. That's what life's about. And that was the HGRAF. The next panic dip buy example I got here is IGPK. It also happens in sub pennies. So it happens across the board everywhere. This one we bought at 0055, sold at 009 minutes later for over $2,500 in profit. And it's been going on for a while. A lot of people would say these patterns are just bogus. Well, I've been trading them for 10 years now. So make sure to go check out my Profitly, and you can see some of these patterns that we've been trading now forever. TLSS doesn't even exist. CVSI doesn't even exist. Well, barely. Volume's not even there. And CYDY at $3. That's crazy. The stock's at 30 cents now. So these are just other examples to show you how long that these panic dip buy plays have been working for us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this panic dip buy video. Hopefully you guys took some tips from it, and I hope you guys can profit on that next big panic dip buy that comes your way. Would love to have you on the team. We got a trial running right now in the Mavericks room. Click the link below. Check me out on simplertrading.com under Stock Mavericks. Also, make sure hit that subscribe button. I'll be posting weekly videos, and I go on YouTube Live every Tuesday morning for live trading. Much love, everybody, and I'll see you for the next video. Stay safe out there. Peace.